Hello everyone, Piotr speaking. This is another educational video. You can find this video in this know-how section, and in this video I'd like to talk about trend lines and support and resistance lines. I talk a lot about support and resistance line on my charts, and I plot them on the charts, so I thought it's good to explain a little bit more, so you can plot it by yourself and you will understand it better. Okay, this line, such a line, I call it a support line. This is an example for a resistance line, and we have here a break through the resistance line, or in this case break through the support line, and I sometimes trade based on that. Okay, but in order to talk about it, I should tell you a little bit about trends, because you should know what is a trend. Yeah. You can hear in the news, you can read about it, so they say, okay, the markets are in trends, they are in an upward trend or they're in a downward trend. So how to understand it? If you take a line chart, okay, and you consider this upward movement, and you consider the lows of this movement, so you will see that this low or that low, it's higher than that low. This low is above that low. There's another low of this price movement which is higher than that low. Okay, and if you have such a situation, we are talking about an upward trend. Okay, because the lows, they are higher and higher. Okay, you can see that the tops are getting higher and higher as well. So the markets are making new tops. Yeah, this is also typical for an upward trend. But what can happen? Let's check it out here. You've got a top theoretically here, but this top is below that top. But it doesn't mean that the trend has changed or the market has changed the trend, because in the same situation you've got a higher low, so this low is higher than that one. This is a new low which is higher than that one. Okay, so we are still talking about the upward trend. Okay, and similarly, in a downward trend, in this case you are checking the tops, so this top is below that top, these tops or those tops here are below the previous one. Okay, in the same situation usually the market is making new lows as well. Yeah, but you can see there is a higher low considering this low and that low. This is slightly higher, but in the same situation you've got a new top which is below the previous one. Okay, so then in such cases you can talk about downward trend. Okay, I plot a trend line and I call it a support line or a resistance line. Yeah, I take this trend line and I plot it on the charts. If you take a book, so in a book you will find something which looks like horizontal lines, and they are called resistance or support line. Okay, I take such lines and I call this is actually a range breakout. There are range breakout systems for trading as well, and I plot such a lines on my charts, and I talk about them in my analysis as a resistance as well, resistance breakout or support line breakout. Usually I talk in such situations about breakout during the London session, because it's a London time. And yeah, but I usually talk about such lines. I call those lines as well as a support line or resistance line. This is a trend line as well, and then you can call it as a trend line as well, and then break through the trend line. Okay, because this line is showing a trend as well. Okay, good. So how to plot such a line? Yeah. If you take the whole movement, and you start searching for lows which you can connect together. So like this is a one low, there are a few lows, this is another one, so I can connect it. Okay, so the best way to do it and to find such lows is take them and plot the line below the Bollinger Middle Band. Okay, this is a Bollinger Middle Band. You should know a little bit about Bollinger Bands. And this is a Bollinger Upper Band and Bollinger Middle Band and Bollinger Lower Band. So I plot the best support line or resistance line to plot it on the charts is to plot it below resistance or support line. Oh, sorry, below the Bollinger Middle Band. Why it's like that? If I take in this case here, if I take and I say, okay, this is a support line, and this support line is above Bollinger Middle Band, okay? So a break through such a line is a false break, okay? Because you can see the market then finds support on this Bollinger Middle Band and keeps going to the upside. So you would be surprised very negatively. Yeah? So there will be not a pleasant surprise for you. Okay, so that's why it's better to place it below the Bollinger Middle Band. Okay, we can. This is already a nice support line. Why the market went to the upside in this case as well? Because on the higher intervals, okay, the higher time frames, the market was still in a strong upward trend as well. So you have to consider it as well. Okay, if you plot such lines, yeah, especially in such cases. So I was aware of it. Okay, let me check it once again. Find it. Oh yeah, that was on the day. On a 4 hours chart. Okay, and I knew about it, and I do not ignore such the higher intervals as well. Yeah. So especially if you are plotting such a line on a 4 hours chart, then you should consider the higher time frames as well. Yeah. So you shouldn't trade against the higher time frames as well. Yeah. So in this special case, or in this case, I knew, okay, so I have to be careful about this support line. It shouldn't be too early with this break through this support line because of the upward trend on the higher intervals, on the higher time frames. Okay, and you can see this is the Bollinger Middle Band, and even in this case here, okay, even in this case here, I could have plotted like that, okay, and it's still okay. I've connected 2 points, yeah, that's okay, and there is a break, but considering the higher time frames, this would be a false break as well. Yeah, so sometimes one has to be quite careful about those lines. Yeah, so it's good to be patient. It's always good to be patient while trading forex. Okay, and you have a nice line. Yeah? You could have considered this MACD indicator as well. It was still growing up, and in this case here, when we were here in this area, the MACD indicator wasn't able to break through the zero line. That was an indication for myself as well. Okay, I consider such things, and I talk about such things on my charts as well. So if I prepare for an analysis for the market. Okay, good. And this, yeah, coming back to the main thought. Good. We had a Bollinger Middle Band, and we had a nice break through the Bollinger Middle Band, and the market broke through this support line. Okay, and that was a nice trade setup. Okay, there is the first candle which breaks through this support line. The candle has to break through this support line. You cannot talk about candle which hasn't broken yet. Okay, or which actually that one the previous one was good as well, because sometimes I switch to the line chart, and I can see, okay, good, there is the break. Okay, so on which candle has it happened? Okay, on that one. Okay, you may consider, you may think about because the candle as a candle, it hasn't broken, but it has. If you zoom in, you will see, okay, yeah, it has definitely broke through that. Okay, so it's done. Okay, it's done, and yeah, that is also important. You cannot consider candles which hasn't broken through that line. Okay, for example, that one, yeah, that one has stopped on that trend line, on that support line. Okay, good. Here, in this case, the line, the market broke through that line, yeah, and that was a nice short trade setup. Okay, so you take a short position just after it is closed, the candle is closed, so you try to take the first position with a stop loss above that top here, and you've got, this is almost 100 pips, 110, you've got 150, and that should make 1 to 2, 1 to 3, I guess. I think we will reach this moving average 200 as well, because this was quite a strong. Of course, we've got this strong trend, and we've got a monthly candle which broke through again a resistance line, trend lines here. In this case, resistance lines, such two lines, and so one has to consider it as well. But talking about theoretically about the support lines, that is a breakthrough through this support line. Yeah, okay, we did at least 1 to 1. If it's done perfectly, so you're looking for a perfect situations on the market, you will have at least 1 to 1 risk to reward ratio. Okay, and in the most cases we will have 1 to 2, 1 to 3, considering 4 hour or daily, or the lower intervals, the lower time frames. You will have more profits, but it's more difficult, and those breakouts are even more. There are more false breakouts if you consider the lower chart, the lower intervals. Okay, let's go to this resistance line, to this trend line, called as a resistance line because this is a resistance area. Yeah? So this is called as well as a resistance line. Again, there is a Bollinger middle band, and I plotted. I was also waited a little bit for the market, and in this case I could have plotted it like that. Okay, I could have considered that point, and at those points this is still okay. Yeah, like that. This is still okay. Okay, you can see a break through this line happens somewhere here. So if you have taken a long position with a stop loss below that low, okay, so you could go into 30-40 pips in minus, and then the market went up to the upside very strongly. Okay, but I sometimes say, okay, you have to adjust this a little bit. Yeah, so of course if you are more experienced, you know it a little bit better. So it takes sometimes a bit longer for a market. So you should be a little bit more patient. Yeah? You shouldn't rush yourself with those lines. Yeah, and then you will be very profitable and successful with those breaks. Yeah. Okay, I'll show you another examples. Okay, gold, and again, I had a nice upward movement. There is a Bollinger middle band, okay, and I waited until the market makes nice. This is the first point, the first low. There's a second one, a third one, and I've plotted. I connected those points together, and I had a nice break through this trend line, through this support line. Okay. For the support area, because this was a support for this upward trend. Yeah, the trend turned around here, reversed again. So the market was looking for a support in this area, and sometimes this is. I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Elliott's channels, because if you consider an Elliott channel and a break for a lower or upper boundary of an Elliott channel, yeah. So you connect the lower shadows or the upper shadows in order to do that. But see what happens if you plot that line, connecting the lower shadows. Okay, you have to plot it like that, and the break happens on that candle, okay, on the big one. Okay, and in this case, if you try to go short here in this area, you will be straight in a loss, okay, like that. You will be straight away to some extent an unpleasant situation. You still will make it, because it gives you. You should take the stop loss. You should place the stop loss above the stop. Okay, because that should be the higher top in this area. So this is a little bit too low, yeah, for myself at least. Yeah, so I have to take that one. Yeah, so consider the higher one, because this is too close to the situation. It's too short. There's another one. So the market, if the market will respect any top and won't be able to break through the top, most probably this will be that one. Okay, so that's why the stop loss should be above that top. Yeah, but considering even this situation here, this is at 200 pips. So you can make 200 pips is still okay, but taking this one into consideration, there is a 400 pips, and so there was a little bit too short. And if you had placed your stop loss above that top, you could be thrown out of the market with a stop loss in this situation here. Okay, so this is when you plot it on lower or upper shadows. Okay, so that's why now you know why I'm plotting those lines using this line chart. Okay, because this is more reliable in this case. When I talk about trend lines and I trade based on those trend lines on such a support line. Okay, because once again, I'll show it once again. It's quite important for me to understand it. This is the break. Okay, the market broke through it. Yeah, there is a break. There is a break. If you as I said, adjustment is also important. So adjust it adjust it a little bit more carefully. So there are some lows here. Yeah. Okay. I should be very precise. Okay, I think now I'm perfect. As I said, that must be a perfect trade setup, a perfect situation. Otherwise, you may lose your trade. Okay, and the break happened already on that candle here, definitely here. Okay. So on that candle you already know, okay, there is a break through that line, and you can go short. There's 250 and easily 250. Okay, so you can see now the difference. Okay, there is another in this case resistance line, a longer one. I will mark that one with a different color, just in order to show it to you. Okay, good. So that is a resistance line. I'm talking about this resistance line in my analysis to my subscribers and to people who are watching my videos. Because I'm waiting for the break through that line. Yeah? That could give me a nice trade setup. In the past, I used to trade based on those lines very often. Yeah? Now I'm trade more and more using Elliott and Elliott counts. But this is something different, and I'm showing you how to use those lines. Okay, and considering this area, only this area, you can plot such a line as well here. This is also correct, yeah? But you can see you are considering only this small area. Okay, and I'm talking about this whole movement. Okay, so this is different, but this is still okay. But what you should consider that when it breaks and you are not aware of that line as well, you may be caught in this area as well, yeah, because the market will respect or will react to that line. Yeah? So that's why sometimes important to zoom in or zoom out, just in order to be very precise and be aware of those such lines as well. Okay, so I think there are a few examples regarding how to plot those lines. I'll show you what people sometimes do and what is wrong. Okay, let's take this Australian dollar, Japanese yen, and I talked to a user, and we were discussing his resistance line. Okay, he plotted this resistance line, and he said, okay, that is a resistance line. Okay, but see what you can find on this chart as well. You can find a line, okay, at least that line here. Okay, and professionals, people who are experienced in trading with support and resistance line, they will see this. Okay, and this break through that line. Okay, So in this area they are already one-to-one regarding their revenues. Okay, so there is like 250 pips, and here they've got already one-to-one. So that's why you have those corrective candles here, those small candles here, because it's profit taking. Okay, so if you go long here, in this case you will earn something here. In this case you will earn, but you won't be able. You should place your stop loss below that low. Yeah, so this is one thing. This is a huge stop loss. This is one thing. The other thing is placing stop loss below that low is too close. Yeah, this can be easily triggered. This can be easily triggered, and you will be in a loss. Okay, so that's why deadline was more important. And you see the angle. Okay, the angle of that line is a better one. Okay, sometimes people talk about angles, and they talk about 45 pips. 45 degree angle, or roughly around 45. So this is something like, this is something like I don't know, yeah, it's 50 degree or something like that. So the angle is also important. Yeah, in this case, of course, the angle is higher because it's like 130 or 140 degree. But as said, yeah, it couldn't be too deep. Yeah, it shouldn't be too steep or too flat as well. Yeah, this is a bit too flat, and this is the right angle. Yeah, that might be too steep. Yeah, but yeah, this might be too steep. That's why the market wasn't reacting that strongly. Okay, like in this case here. Okay, or if you take this one, this is a nice support trend line. And this breakthrough that line is that strong. That's why it's that strong. Okay. So okay, and maybe the last one, the last sentence regarding that line. And if I take the red one and connect it with another top, it's almost in line. This is one thing, and gives me even a better trend line, a better resistance line. Okay. See. This is the break through that line. This is the break. Okay, so that gives you a lot of advantage if you plot it like that and you really use it. Okay, good. So yeah, this is it. As said, this will be here, and I'm preparing some other stuff. So you can join me, and you can also have my you can also subscribe to my forex signals. Check my results. So there's everything on this page as well. Okay, so thank you for your time, and have a nice day.